Put This On, Season 4, Episode 48, where we watch all the Quibi reality shows, kind of. Episode 1, Chris Lorenz.
Robert Kitts.
Noah Singer.
I'm Harrison Hoffman.
Lady Max Moab.
Alright. So this week we did something a little different. Instead of doing one show, this Quibi thing, which we'll get a little more into, is doing 5 to 10 minute episodes. So we decided to do 7 instead of 1. Why don't you give us a description of what Quibi is, Rob?
Alright, so this is from the Quibi website. Got a few minutes? That's all you need to be entertained, informed, and inspired. Quibi will present fresh content from today's top talent, one quick bite at a time. Get ready to make any moment extraordinary with incredible storytelling delivered right to your phone. From daily essentials to breakout shows, the next chapter will always be waiting. That's Quibi on Quibi, I guess.
Yeah. So it's media for your phone. Does that even mention in the description?
It did mention the phone.
So in this premiere a couple weeks ago, you've had some reality shows. So we took most of them. Some of them didn't make the cut, but I can go over some of those.
Well, it's just Quibi in general. It's interesting idea from the concept of we complain on this podcast all the time that this show would be all right if it was shorter, but it's too long. There's too much filler for the content. And this Quibi is leading into this concept, be like, you think the show will be good if it's shorter? We got you. They're all 5 to 8 minutes long. That's all you need. And
even then, most of the time, I'm like, why the fuck is this not over?
We might have been wrong all along, but it's shorter, won't actually save it. But we'll get into it.
The concepts sometimes, they went with some of the weaker concepts, I think. Much weaker than ones that we've done before. So specifically the ones we've watched were Dismantled, Thanks a Million, Murder Housework, Punked, Iron Sharpens Iron, Singled Out, and Floored. Which, for you listening at home that have not watched any Quibi, some of those would make no sense based off of the title.
Just hearing all those titles in a row was just something.
Bring back bad memories, Rob?
It brought back some questionable memories, to be sure.
And I think we should just take a moment to point out that all the shows on Quibi are not just reality shows. Reality shows maybe is like a quarter of the content or something like that.
Yeah. We do reality shows. We review reality shows. There's lots of shows on, MTV that aren't, not MTV. What network do we do that doesn't have just reality shows on?
History Network.
It's, yeah. So, yeah, there are other things. So I think towards the end you can shout out some, that you think are better than some of the reality show things we watched. But yeah, essentially these things are 5 to 10 minutes long. We watched an episode, and some of them have some really weird concepts. Some of them just really boring concepts. Do you guys want to run into one? Is that how we want to do it?
Yeah.
Just go through them quickly one by one.
Sure. The first one we all watched was Dismantled. This is you are a chef. There's another chef next to you. You are in sort of a lab / radioactive protection suit, except for your face. They chop up a food and just blast it at you. You have to taste it, and you have to figure out what it was, and then you have to recreate.
In 30 minutes.
What a piece of garbage. Somebody else should talk.
So, this show, I did not understand the concept properly. I don't know if I didn't really understand the explanation, didn't explain it, but I spent half the show just trying to understand what was going on. I did not understand what was happening in this show. So I don't know if that made me appreciate it more or less, but I was just very confused. they're just blasting food at these people, and they've got their eyes covered, and they're trying to like taste the wall, and I'm just like, what is going on in this show?
Yeah, I mean, but you wouldn't have that problem the second.
I would not, but I only watched one, so I'm judging it based off the one.
I actually, I think the show's so-so, but it's definitely original in what they're trying to get at. We've seen a fair number of cooking shows, and none of them come close to the absurdity of Dismantled.
Okay, I have a rebuttal to the original.
What's the rebuttal?
Great rebuttal, Max.
There are other shows that are about reverse engineering a blind taste test.
Yeah, so I mean, they've definitely done some challenges on like Top Chef and stuff before, where it's like, all right, you have to wear this blindfold and you can just like eat this plate of food, and then you have to like remake it. But this is like that challenge just next level. Like one, it's that challenge next level, and like it's. I think that the show is just like super gross in general. Like I think that like usually one of the good things about food shows is like you're like, oh man, look at this beautiful food. This food looks so good. Like I want to have this food. And like the show just starts, and you're just like, it looks like somebody just ate the food and then vomited everywhere. And then these people are just like trying to eat it and figure out what it is. And then they have like almost no time to like actually cook it. And so, like, didn't they just slop together a bunch of, like, nonsense based on, like, the tastes that they found? They weren't even close to, like, what the dishes were. And then, like, we find out at the end of the scoring is seemingly not even based on how it tastes, but it's just based on how many ingredients from the original thing you've made it into your dish. So, like, it's just, I don't know. It's not a good cooking show, like, by any measure of cooking shows.
Are they trying to be a cooking show? It seems like they're just trying to be entertaining.
I have no idea what they're trying to be, but it is a show. It's a show about cooking, so
they're definitely trying to incorporate cooking show elements into the show.
Yeah, but it's really about seeing somebody covered in vomit.
But we're talking about, they instead of doing a half-hour show, you only did an 8-minute show. That was like 10 seconds of the show, and then it's over. Like,
this is also, I think, related to my like distaste of that other Netflix show where it's like just baking disasters. I think it's called Nailed It. Is that what that one's called?
Nailed It. Yeah.
It's just like I just don't want to watch shows for people who are bad at cooking or cooking just disgusting looking stuff. It's just not what I'm looking for.
This does not have a Nailed It. Nailed It is about being mean to like cooks and like, oh, look how bad people are. This was definitely like legitimately like, hey, you tried really hard, you got 7 out of whatever. Like, it was legitimately, I don't know. I didn't get a Nailed It vibe, but I understand the comparison.
The judging aspect, I agree with Harrison, is just so bizarre, because then they're like, yeah, you got these 7 ingredients right. Like, why not make just a stew that had like 100 ingredients in it? And you're like, yeah, you had every ingredient that was on the thing. Like,
That's exactly what I was thinking. Cause it didn't seem like they judged them based on like how close they were to the original dish, just like based on that ingredient list. So, like this one, woman who was one of the competitors got hit in the face with like a slice of pita, and of course she's like, oh yeah, there's pita in this, and like ended up winning because of it or something. It's crazy.
I wonder if that's not how they judged it, but that's just how they presented it. But it's weird. Although I did like that one of the guest judges was a guy from Queer Eye, the food guy, and he. Just looking, without tasting, he just looked at the destruction of the food, and he actually figured out what the right dish was, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, once they said, there's eggs in there, I was like, I know what this is.
Is that some of the best celebrities? Because all of these shows are kind of celebrity focused. Like,
100%.
Whether they're, like, real celebrities or not are questionable. But, like, this one had Anthony from Queer Eye. And the guy from Schitt's Creek that wears all the ugly sweaters.
And Titus Andromeda.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
What show is he from again?
Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah. Kimmy Schmidt, that's right. Yeah, I wouldn't say this was the best one, but this was, I think, the second best one in terms of the celebrity content.
Yeah. The next one we'll go over, definitely.
The next one is the one.
There is one more thing I want to talk about with Dismantled. Or Harrison, were you talking about Dismantled?
Yeah, go first. I'm also talking about Dismantled.
Go ahead.
Okay. So this might be the same thing you're about to say, but I think that like my favorite part of the show that we haven't talked about yet is like Titus at the end when they, are gonna ask the person to like explain the dishes, just like, so what the fuck did you make? Or like, what the fuck is this? And then they just like explain with the dishes. There you go.
I was going to say, the show did remind me of something, which is, in 30 Rock, there's a bunch of fake reality shows that Jack Donaghy produces, like, Mill Filing, and a bunch of, like, just ridiculous let's take reality shows, too. It's like, Furthest Edges, and this felt like that. You know what these are? They feel like a TV show inside of a TV show. Not just 30 Rock, but any TV show, where everything is a little bit too quick.
Yeah, it definitely had like an interdimensional cable Rick and Morty sort of feel to it, where it's like channel flipping, and like before you kind of understand like what's happening in one of these shows, like it's over and you're like, what happened? I have so many questions about what just happened, but there's no answer in them.
One thing this show has that I usually like is it has a mystery element of you can try to be like Anthony and figure out what the thing is, but they don't give it enough time to actually give you any clues you can use to figure it out. So I think the show needs to decide to lean more into the mystery or lean more into being an actual cooking show. And right now it's just a mess of what it's trying to be. Which maybe the show's about making a mess on the people, so maybe that's fun.
Yeah, the Washington Post did a write-up on Dismantled, and their whole take on it is it's not even a cooking show. That it's just like the food is
talk about Quibi or just Dismantled?
Dismantled specifically. That
there's nothing to talk about.
Like,
I mean, we're talking about it.
there is a like high-minded thought piece breaking down Dismantled, but the TLDR of it is that it's not really about food. Like the food is the means for getting these like celebrities to chit-chat and talk the bullshit.
But it's 7 minutes long. There's not a lot of chit-chatting between the celebrities.
If I want to see celebrities chit-chat for 7 minutes, I'll watch Colbert. Like, I don't need to watch this and have the food being thrown around.
So,
overall Quibi comment, they almost find it strange they bleep out all the swearing. Like, I figured this would just be like, all, just true to life.
Nudity and everything included. I don't know.
No, dude. Quibi is the family-friendly entertainment of the future.
Well, they do have ads. Once you start selling ads, it becomes more controversial. They allow swearing and all that. Yes.
I guess that's true. I signed up for the free trial for no ads, so I will be charged more money when my free trial expires, except my free trial will be canceled at that point.
Yeah, as most things. One thing, also another Quibi note I want to bring up, which is a portrait versus landscape.
Oh, yeah.
They allow these shows to go from, like, you watch a portrait, switch to landscape, and then switch it back. So, like, each show has, like, a portrait version and a landscape version. And a lot of these shows, the portrait version is just hot garbage. Like, you can't see what's going on, or it's, like, hyper-focused on one person, but there's two people in frame. The landscape version. And it's just so, like, I really like the idea if it's just one or the other. Like, film it for what you want it to be, and not this double garbage that just isn't good.
I disagree. I think having the two modes is a cool idea that maybe they could execute better, but I'm in on this. You got to film it and present it both ways, and you watch it whichever way you want. I'm in on the idea.
I mean, like, it's not the worst thing. It's certainly better than, like, you're trying to watch, like, some landscape YouTube video in portrait, and it's just, like, the tiniest possible screen real estate on it. Like, at least with this, they basically, the first show was kind of like a good example of this. They had a bunch of different, like, on-screen graphics of, like, the, recipes and stuff like that. And, on, like, the landscape view, they, stack the graphics to the side, and the portrait view, they stack it on top of the videos. Like, it was just, like, I definitely, I appreciate it. I definitely watched all of them, except for a few minutes of the first one in landscape, but,
Yeah, I actually have been impressed, actually, on their ability to execute. That it's pretty seamless, you get the story, and when you flip between the two, you see how they're actually need to be super intentional on how they take shots on filming the show. Like, I just realized that you can do landscape recently. And once you realize it, you see the characters are always in the middle. Like, that's how they're, like, always shooting, so they can always, like, strip out the sides. It's pretty cool.
I mean, so I was flipping back and forth constantly while we watched all these 7, and some of the shows looked fine. Like, but some of the shows just, like, didn't do a great job, and they just kind of, like, just half-assed it. So that's just kind of, like, my complaint. Like, if this was your main focus the whole time, and I could watch it either way, great. But when I'm like watching it, like, this looks better in landscape than this portrait. Why have landscape? Or why have portrait? That's my main issue. Yeah. But moving on to more celebrity power. Rob, what is our next show?
Next show I watched was Thanks a Million. And the episode we saw had J-Lo, who went and gave $100,000 to a woman and her kid with cerebral palsy, and then said, guess what? You don't actually get $100,000 because you got to give $50,000 to someone else. And so then they gave it to their friend, who I can't remember how they met the friend, and said, here's $50,000, except guess what? You have to give $45,000 to someone else. And then he gave it to his a farmer who employed him back in the day, and he said, "Guess what? You get to keep it all." And so it's the reality show version of the movie Pay It Forward, hosted by Jennifer Lopez.
Well, I think just that episode.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. This is the show. Like every episode has a different celebrity benefactor, and the celebrity list is pretty solid. Like, I'm pretty impressed with what they got. You only need Jennifer Lopez for like 5 minutes max, but
it definitely gets like stranger and stranger as you get farther away from Jennifer Lopez, and like, especially because like when they give this money, they reveal it in just like this big pile of cash that they're giving to the person, and so like the very last one, like the dude who at this point has had no contact or relation to Jennifer Lopez with the original situation at all, is having to explain this thing that he's doing to this like farmer who he's giving this money to, and then she's like, where does this money come from? And he's like, Jennifer Lopez started a chain of gratitude, and now I get to give you $25,000. It was like, it definitely gets stranger and stranger as you go, but it was good.
Yeah. It's definitely, like, from a perspective of, like, we watch all these reality shows. In so many reality shows, the winning is, like, 20K to, like, 100K. And these people are just giving. But this 6-minute content, it's, like, next level in terms of spending in a reality show. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Although they make it seem like Jennifer Lopez gave the money. Do you think Jennifer Lopez actually gave the money?
I think that's the only way the show could have been made.
I think that's how they get all the like good roster of celebrities. Like, they make a pitch. It's like, look, we're gonna give you this money. You get to look like a hero, and you get to choose the person. Great.
Maybe I don't understand how this, like, Quibi has $2 billion that they just burned. I don't.
Yeah, he's burning a lot of money.
Yeah,
because I don't think they're going to be making any money.
I have a question about the show, which is sort of like the Disney Plus like let's recreate a musical. Who the fuck watches this shit? This feel good garbage.
Well, it's both feel good and weirdly funny. Like spoiler alert, I thought this was the best of all the shows we watched, and the stuff Harrison said that made it weird, I actually found it enjoyable. Of like, this show is bizarre and kind of funny, and I don't think it's supposed to be funny, but then it's also trying to be heartwarming. And you're kind of you meet these people for just 2 minutes, and then you can move on to other people. Like, I kind of dig it.
Yeah, I actually agree, and to that end, like, I would love to just see like just a whole season of this show that is just focused on just going as far down the line as you can. It just keeps having until you get down to like you're giving someone $1 and they're like, "Why are you giving me this $1?" And you're like, "Well, Jennifer Lopez started this chain of gratitude."
You gotta remember,
you give someone $2 and say, "But you can only keep one. I need you to give the other one to someone else."
It's too good.
I like this thing. Like we didn't watch the show before, and so I was like, "How far down does it have to go?" And I was just waiting for it to be like,
yeah, same. Like that was definitely hanging on my head. I'm like, at which point does someone like, I'm just gonna stop here. I'm gonna keep the money.
I mean, the cameras are there, and the Quibi producers are gonna take all the money away. Like, we don't give away half that money; we take it all back.
I guess the other thing to note while they're doing the show is they're like, Jennifer Lopez just comes out with like a briefcase kind of thing, and like comes out as like, "I got something for you," and the other person opens this like folded leather envelope, and it's just a stack of $100,000. And then they're like, "Guess what? You don't get all that money." Like, what do you mean? You just gave it to me. Get out of here. It's just like the excitement that they get from like X amount, but then being like, "Oh, you only get half."
It's definitely a shitty reversal. It's like, here's 100,000, and you gotta give 50 away.
Yeah, like they should have been like, here's $50,000. Like it's gonna change your life, and we're gonna give you another $50,000 to give to somebody else.
But that would have been less weird, and so I don't want them. I want them to do it exactly as they're doing it.
Here's the $2. You get to give one away.
It's great.
All right. So our next one is the one I was so excited about: Murder House Split. So the show is about people that bought houses where there were murders in them. And then these people come in and they like design and like remake their house. Unclear because episode 1 didn't really go into it. But the first house was somebody in San Francisco Bay Area where they bought a house where 7 people were murdered by an old lady buried in the backyard. Like on this tiny backyard. Like barely enough big enough for like 10 bodies. 7 were back there.
This is a big time murder house. This isn't like a one-off.
It's a murder operation.
Yeah, so she had this scheme where she would have old people come into her house and sign away their Social Security and then just murder them and keep collecting the Social Security.
There's this really old movie called Arsenic and Old Lace that's basically the plot of that movie is what this woman was doing. It's very strange.
But did they get caught? Like,
they do get caught. It's also a comedy.
But like, so the hosts of the show come in, and they're just complete. It's like you're watching one of those ghost hunter shows, and you're like looking around for all the ghosts and like freaked out because they're like, "Oh, the floorboards creak. Is there a ghost over there?" Like, just completely trying to turn this into like some sort of horror reality like show, and it's just like it's a normal house. What?
I definitely felt like the woman was kind of hamming it up a little bit more. She's like, "These are the original floors. It was in your bedroom. There's bodies in the backyard." It was getting pretty crazy.
So, of the two owners, it's like sort of an older couple. The man is so nonchalant about his murder house. Every time they go to the stairs, he's like, "This is where she dragged the bodies down to the yard. Just call it the stairs."
No, this was actually my favorite part of the show, was just this
100%.
guy explaining all these grisly murder details in this like, yeah, this is my bedroom, and this is where the dismemberment took place. I'll show you. It's gonna take it back. This is the backyard. This is where like the they found the dismembered torso, and it's just
like, so they come with this couple, and they're like, "Yeah, we needed to have a split level." And it was like a 5-bedroom house with 1 bath. Like, what do you need 5 bedrooms? Like, what are they doing with 5 bedrooms? And then who's gonna, if you were trying to rent that out, who's renting from these birds? Like, that's just.
It was 5 bedrooms and 1 bathroom.
Nuts.
Like, what kind
That's
of
a bad
person-
ratio.
Yeah. No wonder why they had to kill people.
Rob, you watched, so we were only going to watch episode 1, but this house was a 3-part thing, so we only got to see 1 part. Rob, can you tell us what happens in part 2 and 3?
Yeah, so I think we should just explain, so this show violates a little bit the Quibi spirit, that it's basically one 20-minute episode that they just sliced into 3 parts. And so part 1 is the explain the house, explain the history, meet the fixer-upper people. Episode 2 is the fixer-upper people do all, like, the owners go away, fixer people do all the stuff they're doing. Episode 3 is the owners come back and see how the stuff has changed and, like, ooh and ah over it. So, the murder part is kind of over halfway through episode 1, and then this is just a fixer-up show. But this particular episode, like, they basically needed to fix up their backyard. Their backyard is just full of trash. They basically need the trash taken away and a better setup in their backyard. So they don't actually do anything to the actual house. It's a backyard.
They don't get rid of the floors? What?
Floor's still there. That stair, they dragged them down. The body's down, was still there. They put up a gazebo in the backyard. They put up a swing set. They get rid of all the trash. They set her up. The woman does some sort of mosaic artwork. So they set up like an outdoor artwork station for her. That's it. So episodes 2 and 3 are actually like a very boring house fix-up show, and that's basically all it is.
So episode 1 was a murder house tour.
Yeah.
And then,
I think episode 1 was the best episode because episode 1 has the old man explaining the murder house, and that's the best part of the show.
all right. Well, also Max said while we were watching it, this is a future murder house.
Yeah, once they get into the backyard, it's pretty fucking creepy. I think, like, sort of, for the season finale, they should twist it and say it's not a murder house. Yes.
So, after that show, we watched Punk'd, the reboot of the popular show from however long ago. No one cares. But now the host is Chance the Rapper. Which,
Look at Ashton.
no Ashton this time. He's too busy making dollar bills.
I mean, I think Ashton made a decent number of dollar bills from Punk'd originally.
Yeah, which now he's on Shark Tank. He's next level.
Ashton's crushing it.
So one thing I have right away with Punk is like they just like show like Chance for like 5 seconds, and they're like, "You know Chance, right? All right, we're moving on." They don't even say. I don't even know if they've actually said his name is Chance.
It was flashed on the screen very quickly right at the start. But you're totally right. They're like, "You know who this is," and I'm like, if I hadn't read it, I would have been like, "Who is this?"
Like I had to confirm with Rob and Max, like, who is that? Oh, it's Chance.
Chris, I would say there is a high chance you've seen this man in person.
In person?
At Sasquatch.
Mm-hmm. I think it's one of those things where if you have to ask, the show might not be for you.
Yeah, this should never happen. So, essentially, this is a prank show. So, they have Megan Thee Stallion as like a dog. And they like kidnap the dog and put it in the back of this warehouse next to a man in a gorilla suit. And then they can like steal her to look for her dog and say it's in the back of this warehouse. And then this gorilla comes out and just like freaks them all out, like runs people off and does like a bunch of shit. And then Chance comes out and everyone's just laughing. Like that's yes.
She makes a call to the 911 and says, "I'm in LA. There is a gorilla." I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room with the show, which is it is a shot-for-shot recreation of another show we've watched this season
Called Punk'd?
No, we did not watch Punk'd.
Try
We watched
again.
Prank Encounters, which was a Netflix prank show with that guy from Stranger Things.
Materazzi.
Yeah, Maserati.
And, literally, the episode of Prank Counters we watched was someone getting pranked of their van was being attacked by someone in a costume. Like, it was exactly
in a Sasquatch costume.
It was a Sasquatch, not a gorilla, but like, I cannot believe we're basically watching exactly the same show.
I mean, the big difference between the two would be one's pranking a celebrity and one's just pranking a normal person. But like, the tone was the same. It was the same, like, kind of like trying to scare you. You're supposed to feel like, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. Like, this person.
I feel like Chance was even wearing the same hat.
They had the same setup.
Same setup. But you say, like, this is pranking a celebrity. I don't know who that person was. Like, you gotta have a celebrity that actually, like, you were talking about, we don't know who Chance is. Who's this other person? I definitely don't know who that is.
So, she is a very popular rapper.
She released a song with Beyonce today.
Oh, okay.
Like, Noah definitely knows who this person is.
I mean, Noah keeps bringing up people we don't know and be like, you know who this is. So I wasn't surprised.
If you go to the Spotify top 50 right now, I'll make a bet she's probably on 2 or 3 tracks at least.
Well, anyway, this like show, I just don't understand what I'm supposed to feel during these shows. So you're watching this person beg, freak the fuck out, and be like really scared. She really wants her dog. And then she's really scared for her life and everyone else's life when this, like, gorilla comes out. And then she finds out it's a prank, and then she laughs it off. And I'm like, I'd be fucking pissed. Like, you went through the ringer. Like, this is not a normal fucking situation. I don't find it funny at all. It's not funny. Like a funny prank, like, there's funny pranks. This is not one of them. And neither was Scare Attack. Neither was Prank Encounters that we watched earlier. So, like...
I mean, we talked about this with Prank Encounters, but, like, I did definitely laugh during Punk'd when, like, everything's going down, and so it's like, it is kind of funny. But, and Punk'd was definitely, if I'm choosing watching Punk'd and watching Prank Encounters, I'm definitely watching the one that's only 7 minutes long. Like,
yeah, the only saving grace is 7 minutes long. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like essentially what Quibi has done is taken shows that are 21 minutes that have 3 segments. They've split it into 3 different episodes instead of just being one episode.
They do that. They also cut down a lot on backstory. Like, they just, like, introduce the drama immediately, and that's fairly consistent on even their non-reality shows. They've hired writers to, like, literally cut out all the minutia.
The minutia?
I need that minutia, Noah.
Right. Quibi is actually Navajo for no minutia.
That's going to make the show description. So, anyone have anything they want to say about Punk before we move on? The next one we watched was Iron Sharpens Iron, which is the essence of the show is they get 2 different professional athletes to do each other's training and see how bad they are or how good they are at each other's training. And so in this episode they have Cam Newton, which is a professional quarterback. Well, it used to be professional, I guess at this point. And Trae Young, which is a professional basketball player. So they go through and they do some basketball warm-ups, and then they do some, like, back and forth. Find out Cam Newton is a nickname guy. He's got some guy named Lovey Dovey that he has on the
name. Some Cupid.
Yeah. He's got some good nicknames. And then they do some football warm-ups, and they shoot through some giant tires, and the episode's over. And Max, what did you say? Max said something about go ahead.
This is one of the most boring things I've ever seen.
You're not wrong.
You know the feeling when you hear the NFL song?
No.
Sure, that one also was. Any of that? This is the opposite of that.
Yeah, it was real boring. This is
unbelievable how boring this was.
So, to give some backstory, I was the one that came up with the list of these, And this is not the only 1v1 competition show that was on Quibi. There's a Idris Elba, 1v1 competition show that was, somebody named Block, which is I think he's a Formula One racer. It was just why are there two of these things? What is going on?
Well, that sounds intriguing. We might need to watch that show.
Mm-hmm.
B, this isn't, I think this is, it seems like a 1v1 competition show, but it's not. You're right. They're explaining each other's training, and it's more like a lesson than a 1v1 competition, because, Cam and, the other guy's name, they both throw a football, but it's not a competition, because it's Cam Newton is actually good at this, and the other guy's not. There's no real if they'd done a Shaq versus kind of thing, where, Cam has to stand 50 yards back of the other guy and see who can do better, that's a 1v1 competition show that's playing into the one knows this better than the other one thing, but this is not that show. This is just here's some tips on how, as an NBA player, I trained for the game. And I'm oh, that's cool. That makes sense. And
yeah, you're definitely right, Rob. And I was definitely hoping for it to turn into Shaq versus the entire time, and it never really did. But
not even close.
No.
Well, maybe I chose wrong, guys. You should have done yourself.
I don't know. I like this show. I like seeing how different people, different athletes work out. There's one later episode which is very good. There's a boxer and a hockey player. This boxer is so good at what he does. Just to get, I'm gonna go a little deep in here because it's just impressive. So the hockey player is very strong, as you'd imagine, right? So they go to the punching bag, right? Because that's how the boxer works out. They measure the power of the punches that are being thrown at the bag. I guess the force, and they measure it in pounds. The hockey players getting to hit the bag 300 pounds, 400 pounds of force. The boxer, kind of almost at ease, is hitting 1,000 pounds of force. So I just thought that was pretty cool how they change up, and you really see how the athletes are excelling, even compared to other pro athletes at what they do.
I mean, one of the reasons I thought the show would be interesting is I thought people would be more invested in these professional athletes. You have to be invested. And I agree that this episode wasn't great, but I think the idea isn't bad per se. Hey, let's have NBA star go through some professional football. It just needs to be more structured and less boring, I guess. I don't know. I feel like it's just produced really poorly. I don't think the idea is bad per se.
That's fair. Yeah.
The next show we watched was a questionable game show called Singled Out.
Yeah, we definitely ventured a little bit into game show, not reality show on this one.
It was unclear to me, it didn't feel like a game show, but they kind of called it a game show. So, I don't know.
I mean, this was also the most nonsensical of all the shows that we watched. It was totally off the wall.
Harrison, give it to us. Explain the show.
Holy cow. So, it's produced by MTV. So this is one of two shows produced by MTV in here. The other one's Punk'd. And so I'm all right, MTV dating show. We've been here. We kind of know, how this is gonna go. They teed up by saying, there's somebody who's single, looking for somebody to date, and they've assembled all of these people together who are potential dating prospects who this person is already connected to on social media. And it's I don't know, 30, 40 people. It's a lot of people that they have on this stage, basically. And the person who's looking for the date doesn't get to see any of these people. We should get into some discussion on how they assembled this group of people and how this whole situation happened in a minute. But they assemble this whole group of people. They're just all right, we're gonna find the perfect person out of this group for you to date. It's gonna be 3 different rounds for you to kind of whittle it down. So the first round is deal breakers. So they basically, you get to pick a category, and they ask you a question, and any one of the singles who didn't answer the same as you just gets automatically eliminated. So it gets like whittled down pretty quick when they do like a couple of those deal breakers. Then I think like it got down to like 3 people after the deal breakers.
So like they only showed us 2 deal breakers, and they're either or questions. You have 50-50 in theory chance to get it right. They're like, and now there's only 3 left. It's like,
okay,
I think they just randomly choose 3 people.
But there was one of the questions which I think knocked out a big chunk of the people, and it was basically, would you prefer to have sex in public or private? And she goes, she's like, I have sex in public all the time, or whatever. I'm definitely
on the subway train station.
Yeah, and so like
that's on the beach.
Yeah, on the subway platform, right, or something. And so at least like 70% of the people, like I think, just walked off the stage on that one. Because I think a lot of people hit private. But so I'm not sure if that's like normal. They have some kind of crazy one that weeds down like that. But so you get into round 2.
Wait, there's a second one. The second one.
Yeah.
You text me back right away.
Yeah.
Just obviously right away, I'm like, oh, so she's needy as fuck. And then that got rid of everyone. Well, they claim it got rid of everyone down to 3.
Yeah.
Steve's question.
Then they basically have like a slide into my DMs round, and all 3 of these people has to write the kind of main single person a DM that comes with a picture of which their face is blurred out, and then this person basically gets to like eliminate somebody based off of whether or not they like these DMs. Also, like, this person knows all these people that are standing behind them, and they're seeing this picture of, like, their face scribbled out, and, like, there's no way that they don't know who these people are.
Yeah,
probably.
So odd. Like, she knows half of the contestants, because, like, they're also comedians or something.
They're all connected on social media. They have pre-existing relationships.
It's so odd.
So then it's, like, narrowed down to 2, and they're just like, all right, now the last round is all about, like, how good your physical contact or something like that. I can't remember exactly like how they described it. So then I'm like, all right, let's like see what this is gonna be. And then they basically like they had this table of like different like vibrators that you could choose from, and then they each chose each of the 2 remaining people chose a vibrator, and then they put it on this thing where the vibrators just kind of like raced down it, and one of them won, and they're just like, this person won the vibrator race, and it was like, okay. The person who lost didn't get eliminated. Then the original single just got to use the information, whatever information you may have derived from who won the vibrator race, to pick who the final person was that they wanted to date. It was just like, it was so nonsense.
Yeah, I was really disappointed with Singled Out. One, for the nonsense vibrator thing, which is literally has no added value to making a decision.
It is an all visual competition between these people. The person doesn't get to watch it; they just get to hear what the result is.
Yeah. Basically, you get told this person won a game of Plinko. And they're like, okay, great. Now choose which one you want to date.
Yeah, it's so bad. But did anybody here watch the original Singled Out show?
I didn't know this was a remake.
Yeah, so Jenny McCarthy, I don't think this is her break. Yeah, Max's best friend. I'm pretty sure she did Playboy first, and then she did this. Yeah, so she hosted this. This was like probably 25 years ago or something. And the original was a lot more interesting. One, they weren't social connections. 2, they would filter people out based on more meaningful questions. Like, they might go from, like, first, like, physical traits and, like, personality traits. But it was the same idea. You have, like, one contestant, and there's, like, a pool of people. And it gets whittled down.
Were they connected by previous relationships?
No, there's no connection.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this show is garbage, but I found it more entertaining than most of the other shows, to be honest. Like, it was moving. I like that. Rob, do you remember the tagline?
Oh, it's...
I have it written down if you know what to say.
I feel like if I gave me a minute, I could come up with it, but that's terrible podcast.
All right. Your next bay could be a scroll away.
Oh.
Yeah. That's right.
I love to use my app and scroll through people. That's the verb I use when I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Scroll.
So Carmen Electra also came on the show for the last season. The OG.
Is a contestant or a host?
Host.
So some other minor minutia that I found funny from singled out was that this person was a bisexual, so those guys and girls up on stage, and the guy that lost, he got the nickname from her, Sugar Dick, which is an interesting nickname, and he definitely played off of it pretty well. He said something, I hope it tastes sugary or something like that. So like, I thought that was just kind of fun. Like, there's definitely fun moments in this show versus like other shows we've watched in this list.
We got a good thing going. Last week it was Boyfriend Dick. This week it's Sugar Dick. Tune in next week.
Tune in next week for the Dick of the Week.
I don't know, Chris. I feel like this show
This week it's Dick Cheney.
I feel this show was trying hard to kind of be funny and didn't get there because it's just too needy about, wow, look at how nuts we're being.
Well, spoiler alert, we're gonna rank these in a minute once we get through our last one. So.
All right, let's get to the last one.
Yeah. So we got Florida, which is our last show, which featured Floriography. So
Wow.
That word was used multiple times during this 6-minute episode.
So they have
Chris, what is Floyd?
I'm getting it. I'm just laughing. So they have this giant platform that kind of rotates around up 20 feet in the air, surrounded by one of those foam pits that you see that skaters will jump into. So you can jump from the platform into this pit and you're fine. So this thing is above the floor and just kind of rotating. So they get 2 dance crews to come in and perform the dance on top of this platform that's just kind of moving around a lot and not stable. But then they do the actual performance, they have extra gotchas that come in, which are usually just things that come out and hit you, fly through the platform area that knock you down or just disturb you while you're trying to do this dance. So it's really it's more of a Wipeout kind of style humor. So in this particular episode, we have a ZRG is group 1 and Fusion is group 2, and one was more of a Latin group. I don't know what the fuck ZRG was. And ZRG didn't fall off the platform. The other group fell off the platform, so ZRG won. And I don't know what else there really is to say.
Well, we gotta say that this is some garbage judging again. Because ZRG, there was a swinging thing, but that was it. And the other group, they had a swinging thing and these streamers. And now they're dancing on top of streamers on the moving platform. So, of course, they slipped on the streamers and fell off. It was a totally garbage competition. And they're like, well, ZRG stayed up there. It's like, well, of course they did. So,
It was totally garbage from a competition perspective, but I was definitely entertained by the dance routines and the seriousness with which these dance crews approach their thing. It reminded me of Jason Mendoza's dance crew from The Good Place or whatever. I could just imagine them doing that.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty great.
No, I agree. The dance was fun, and the dancers are committed to the bit, and that I appreciate that.
Yeah, I wonder if the streamers crew was the first one. I don't know if they I've watched another episode because I was trying to prepare for this, and there's no streamers. It was just things flying at them. And that's pretty I feel that's it was very interesting to see people try to dance on this uneven platform and then try to avoid this obstacle. You could definitely do that better than others. And I thought that was actually a good test of skill. It was you're right, this episode was just kind of garbage because they just threw slippery shit on the floor and they're well, then you fell off. Well, yeah, you threw slippery shit on the floor. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Although it it was incredible for that group though, because like these streamers came out and like it was like two guys, it was one guy and two girls, and the two girls like slipped or like fall off immediately, and then the guy was just standing strong, and he was up there just dancing so hard by himself. You just like going for it up there. That was it. It's great.
Yep.
I think I would have liked this show better because I also found the host and like head judge was the most grating host of all the different things we watched. So I feel like if they just gotten rid of the judge and gotten rid of the host, it's been like, let's just watch a couple of these dance people get hit by giant teddy bears. I think that would have been a better show.
Like, I assume that person's supposed to be. No, who is that person? You know? Like,
Yeah,
no one knows.
her name's Liza Koji. She is one of the most famous YouTube stars. Like, there's a bunch of them now got famous, but she really stands out from like taking her like bootstrapped herself on YouTube to now getting real shows.
Real shows on Quibi.
Yeah, but she's doing a lot of stuff now. Like, she's killing.
She's killing it. Yeah, like that's another thing. The show is like, who is this host? Like, they didn't even introduce this person. This is episode 1. Like, God, like, I have no idea.
Yeah, again, if you don't know, you don't know. Like,
No,
that's it's definitely one of those.
but like I mean, who? Okay, I mean, this is kind of getting a little bit into like who is the demographic of Quibi? Because like,
Noah,
okay,
apparently.
like, I mean, maybe it's Noah, but like, you know, you're making like we've kind of had multiple shows now. They're just like, oh, this person is like, you know, you'd only know about him if like you were actually like following along, whatever. Oh, you only know about him if you're like, you know, checking out YouTube. Like, are the people who are just like watching a bunch of stuff on YouTube paying $5 a month for Quibi? I just don't know. I don't know.
I don't see it.
You got to pay $8 for the no ads.
Oh shit.
The people on YouTube are used to ads, so they'll just pay the $5.
I mean, they'd rather pay their $5 for no ads YouTube, maybe.
Wasn't it like $10?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like the business model once they get out of the 90-day trial period.
Yeah.
Like
It's so long.
I'm pretty sure the business model is very good.
Hope and pray.
I mean, like Rob, I haven't seen the $8. Like, I've just seen the $5 a month, and like they're building out an ads business, but we'll see where that goes. Like the slate they have makes it seem like they're going for like a family buys into it. But at least from the model, it's you sign up on with your like iPhone account or your Android account. I'm assuming.
I like to give my family access to vibrators.
Nothing says family entertainment like Single Dad.
Yeah.
There's some other minor minutia. Is that there's another show on Quibi that is a dance competition. Like, it's straight up just 1v1 group, or like a group versus group, and like there's no real gimmick other than like they give them the dance moves they need to include in their like routine or performance, and then this guy just picks the best one.
That's
So
incredible.
it's much more of a like straight up competition. Whereas I thought this was much more of like a way out there idea. So I thought this one would be better. Kid too.
I think you picked all right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, spoilers. There was also a WWE show that I didn't pick. That was kind of weird. It's called Fight Like a Girl, and the idea was that they took some struggling woman and put them in the gym for like 3 months or something, and then showed their progress. And they had like a WWE superstar come in and give them the motivational speech or something.
So were they trained to like be in the WWE, or are they just trying to get fit?
They were just trying to get their life together, at least episode 1. This girl just didn't have a job, and she was like, one of the WWE superstars divas came in and was like, hey, come get some, like, be in the military, come to the gym every day and like work out, see how strong you can be. And at the end, she was like, yeah, I'm real strong. I was just like, fuck is this garbage?
It's kind of like Wake Up Call, but no rock.
I don't know what it was. It was garbage. That's all I knew.
Yeah, the one thing I wish I had a wake up call without the most interesting thing about wake up call in it.
Yeah. So just to say that there's worse ones out there. I think the ones that we watched. All right, I think we're down to it.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to do our rankings? How do you guys want to do your rankings? You just want to list them off? Or do you want to do?
I think we should just give our best and our worst.
We can quickly go through the list.
Okay. No racing's into my idea. Sure. Whole list is fine.
Fair. So go worst to first?
Sure.
All right, I'll kick it off. So, and I think I might have wrote down a couple of these names wrong, but you'll get the gist. So I got Iron Meets Iron, Singled Out, Disheveled, Murder Flip House, Floored, Punked, and Thanks a Million.
Okay.
Wait, so Thanks a Million is the worst.
Thanks a Million is the best, because I went worst to first, as I said 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, I have a short-term memory.
All right, I got you. My list is different. I just want to say that I guess we're going to get into rankings, but spoiler alert, all of these are garbage. I don't think I'd watch a single one again. So, we got Iron Sharpens Iron at the bottom. Then we got Punked, Murder House Flip, Thanks a Million, Lord, Dismantle, and Singled.
Singled Out on the top. Oh my
that's
god.
your top?
I don't know about that.
You're a crazy person.
No, I am with Chris that, like, I have one or two that I can put in the, like, top of the bottom. Everything else is bottom of the bottom.
Like, of all of these shows, one I was found entertaining and funny and might watch again. Singled Out is the top of that list.
I definitely
Holy cow.
was like, Singled Out and Iron Sharpens Iron are by far the two worst by a mile. All right.
Oh boy.
All right, Max.
Harrison, give me your list.
Okay, well, at number 7, I have Singled Out. I think that like there's this kind there's like a bottom tier. I've got Singled Out 7, Dismantled 6, Iron Sharpens Iron 5. Like that set, like those are the true garbage of the pile here. Like that's really not looking great. Murder House Flip at number 4, Punked at number 3, Floored at number 2. I was kind of into Florida. I think it was pretty good. And then I got Thanks a Million number 1. I think that, Thanks a Million is it's definitely the best one on here.
Harrison, that was a very solid list. I approve that list.
Thank you.
Max, what do you got?
Some of you are going to agree with me, and some of you will not. I thought the worst show was Iron Sharpens Iron, followed by Thanks a Million.
Oh.
Then Dismantled, Murder House. Side note, a lot of us had Murder House like right in the middle, like 4 or 3. Then it had Singled Out. I don't feel good about Singled Out being this high, but everything else is garbage. Then Floored, and then Punked. The only reason I put Punked at the top is I got 1 or 2 laughs out of it, and I got 0 entertainment out of everything else.
No, what do you got?
Alright, so at the bottom, I got Singled Out. I think there's a bit of just like disappointment because I high expectations. Also,
wait, quick time out, Noah. Noah said he liked Singled Out, and it's his bottom show. So he's like working on a whole other plane than all of us. He's like, the worst show is still pretty good, and let's go from there.
No, I did not like Singled Out. To be clear, I thought it was shit. So Singled Out, Murder House Flip, Floored, Dismantled, Thanks a Million, Punked, Iron Sharpens Iron.
Oh,
What?
a real Iron Sharpens Iron head over there.
That's
I can't
incredible.
believe you guys have Punked so high.
Chris, I don't feel good about it.
Chris, it comes down to this, that you don't think seeing someone just freak out is funny, and most of the world does.
Okay, Chris, I can explain exactly why it's at my top. There's one line where, what's her name, says, "Where is he? Where's my motherfucking dog?" And I laughed, and I didn't do that for any other show, and that's why this is my top show.
Alright, that's fine. Alright, let's do ratings. So let's do ratings of just all 7 overall. Don't, not giving ratings for each one.
Ratings of the Quibi reality
Network.
Cohorts.
I'm going to go with bottom third.
Whoa.
Bottom third.
Care to give us a James rating on that, maybe? Might be easy.
I don't really want to, because I don't really think of the James ratings, but it'd be pretty close to bottom five. Like,
okay.
A lot of these shows, there's no show I really want to watch again. Like, compared to many other shows. Like, I'd watch again. I was doing other stuff. I don't think I'd put any of this on even if I was doing other stuff. So.
Can you put on a thing in the background if it's on your phone, though? I feel like the phone thing is like, you've got to give it those 7 minutes of your life.
No, you cannot play in the background.
Alright, Rob, what is your rank?
Alright, I have a controversial opinion. So, I don't want to pay extra money to get Quibi. But I was thinking, like, what if this came, like, with your Netflix subscription? Or what if this, it's one of the a million random things you get with Amazon Prime. I feel like I'd be like, oh, I got 10 minutes to kill. Let me go through and see if there's any celebrity on Punk that's actually interesting. Like, I looked, there's a Little Nas X episode, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should check out the Little Nas X episode. And I kind of want to see a little bit more Thanks a Million. So I feel like there's a middle third. I got to put in the middle, because if I had access to the content, I think I might check it out from time to time. Depending on what show it is. So I don't feel good about it, but I feel like I can't just put it in the bottom there.
Setting the business model aside.
I mean, I'm not. Once my free trial is done, it's done. Like, there's no question about that. But yeah. I was like, if I wasn't paying just for this and it came as part of something else, I feel like I might think about it.
All right, Noah, what do you got?
So, there's a rating I have based on the shows that we watched, where I put it like bottom of the middle, because there's some promise there, but none of them were like really amazing. But because I've been going deep into Quib, and finding a lot of value from it outside of this content, Quibi is like top of the top for me. They're pumping out content. There's a lot of good content on there. I'm excited for it. Like, I like the bite-sizedness of it, where you can like hop into something. So I'm a fan. I hope they succeed. And if they don't, well, we're kind of back to finding shit on YouTube.
Well,
what's your favorite Quibi?
Well, hold on. Let's get into that later. Only for the reality shows we watched, or other reality shows you have watched. We can talk about regular Quibi after we've done ratings. At least I want to, but I want to get through ratings first.
I mean, in general, I don't watch reality TV outside of the shit we watch. So, like,
I know you're a big Selling Sunset head. Don't deny it.
When that comes back out with season 2, I will binge it in a minute. But outside of that, like, I just actually don't watch that much of it. So, I haven't been watching the reality TV show on the Quibi. I've been watching the Magician Show and the Pot Show, which are reality-esque, but they're not in our definition of reality.
Are you talking about The Magicians?
No, it's called Going Mental with Leor.
Alright, Harrison, what is your rank?
Man. I think this is gonna have to be middle third, but it's definitely, and I don't really give James ratings, but I feel like I kind of have to get a little bit more granular given there's so much different content here. It's probably gonna be a bottom of the middle. Your set of singled out, dismantled, iron sharpens iron, are pretty garbage. Murder House Flip, I just don't really know about that one because I didn't see enough of it. Floored and Punked, I would watch some more episodes of that. Thanks a million. I just want to be watching those gratitude chains popping off all day. So,
Max, what do you got for us?
I would like to back up Rob that I was pleasantly surprised that the format makes sense to me once I'm watching it. Of like, let's say I'm waiting for a bus or something. Yeah, sure, I'll flip on a 4-minute movie, but I wouldn't, because the idea is good. The execution is such utter trash. Like, this is not just a garbage. This is not a garbage disposal unit that's on fire. It's a radioactive bug. It's disposing on fire. I hate this so much. It's gonna be a bomb at the bottom. Fuck this shit. I hope they go out of business. Meg Whitman's a Republican. Go fuck yourself, Meg Whitman.
Ooh.
Right. Now that said, I agree with you. But other Quibis I've watched have been, like, I watched a documentary called Run the City, which was really fun. I was really addicted to that. I really wanted to know what happened. I think they drag it out a lot for like a 45-minute, 60-minute documentary. But like, I was definitely intrigued on watching each episode, and I definitely came back to watch it. And that's like a 6 to 8 minute documentary. Like, it's just weird. And then I've been watching this thing called Dummy with I forget who's in it.
Is that the Anna Kendrick one?
Yeah, Anna Kendrick is in it, and she like finds her boyfriend's like sex doll, and like the sex doll comes to life and becomes her friend, and it's just really weird and just like I can't tell if I want to watch more or not, but it's funny. So I think there's definitely some content on there like that I like, and especially like if I was commuting right now, I'd definitely be more interested in like a 5 to 10 minute show, or like I'm on the bus for like 20 minutes, like just watch this while and like relax a bit. So I definitely think Quibi has like a decent idea. Just like the worst time ever to watch something like this. Like I'm not sitting at home, sitting on my phone watching a Quibi. It's just like fucking. So, every time a new network launches, we pump through these reality shows. We gotta do it. And we gotta do at least one.
Or 7.
That's why we did the Quibis. Rob, I think you have another update.
Oh, I got a big update. I got a couple things I kind of want to get through. So, Masked Singer, last week, Sharon Osbourne was the guest judge. And it was interesting because she immediately, after hearing the banana sing, was like, that's Bret Michaels, and was so confident about it, and was like, even like breaking down the body language of the banana, be like, oh, I've seen Bret Michaels, he does da-da-da. A reality show, someone we've seen before, another show. Banana got kicked off, and it was in fact Bret Michaels, so as someone who, we've seen before, so that was a pretty good reveal.
Yeah.
But I actually have a bold prediction that I want to put out there into the world on the frog. So there have been some hints the frog has some sort of tie to 90s sitcoms. And so they've guessed it's like Carlton from Fresh Prince, stuff like that.
Is it BoJack?
I want to say it is Jaleel White, a.k.a. Urkel.
Wow.
I think Urkel is the frog on The Masked Singer. And so there was a hint this week called Thank God It's Frog Day, so a TGIF reference. There were boots with lightning on it, and he was the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. And he just did this weird kind of sort of shimmy move thing that reminded me of like something Urkel would have done on the show. So like I feel very confident, and like he's someone his dancing is better than his singing, and so I feel like that also fits the Urkel motif. So there's also a clue from before that it's something to do with the Atlanta Olympics, and I haven't figured out how that has anything to do with Urkel. So it's a little questionable, but I want to put that one out there. I think the frog is that Urkel might win the Masked Singer.
So Rob, I have a question.
Yeah.
Over this whole show, like the longer you're in it, the more clues they give.
Yeah.
Like the more likely you know who they are. Is that correct? Or is like the clues just like so esoteric?
The clues are pretty random, so you kind of have to kind of get something to put you on a track, and then once you have the track, you see if the clues start matching what you're thinking or what you're not thinking. And so that's why it's like like last season the winner was Wayne Brady, and then once you got in your head it was Wayne Brady, it was like, oh, now I'm seeing how all these things make sense for Wayne Brady, but like you could easily just not clue into it, and then you're just missing.
So it doesn't really matter if you were like episode 1, you got kicked off, and you got those clues, versus like episode 20, and they got kicked off. It was like 50 more clues.
You definitely are more likely to know when people get kicked off later, but it's not like it becomes obvious by the end of it. Like in both like finales, there's people who you're not totally sure who they are still kicked off. But both times the winner, we decide who the winner is. But like, you also get the hints from the judges. Like, the judges are guessing people, and so they're putting those names in your head. And then if they're on track, they're like, oh yeah, I see it. I think that makes sense. Like Sharon Osbourne was like, it's definitely Bret Michaels. And so when the bananas would get unmasked, I was like, I think it's Bret Michaels. Sharon Osbourne was very confident.
Is that guy from Community still host?
So I'm glad you brought that up. So the host is Nick Cannon, but Ken Jeong is one of the celebrity judges. And the other new news. Well, Joel McHale's been a guest judge. And this week, the new news is there is a Masked Singer post show, a follow-up show. And I saw this was on Hulu, and I was like, I gotta just watch 3 minutes of this just to see what it is. So Nick Cannon is in some kind of virtual studio. Like, he's clearly like blue screened, and it's just his whole, but he's standing. It's his whole body. And I'm like, did he do this in his house somehow, or did he go to a studio just to be by himself and film this? But then he had Ken Jeong calling in from his bedroom. And then he had Joel McHale calling in from his bedroom, even though Joel McHale's not usually on the show. And I'm like, but he's not in the same spot he was for the Tiger King thing. So Joel McHale's just dialing in. Anyone who needs, hey, I'm in my house. I got my Zoom set up. Call me. I'll be on your random show for quarantine. Joel McHale's just out there. I was like, I couldn't believe Joel McHale popped up. He still looks like he hasn't showered, and it's nuts. And then I turned it off. So that's all the big Masked Singer news going on.
Wow.
So I have an update about last week. Too handy.
Oh, yes.
So I actually got to watch another episode that actually does more of what the show's actually about. Like, trying to get these people to be better people in relationships, etc., at least that's what they claim. And it's garbage. It's bottom. We're moving it to the bottom. It was in the middle. Now it's in the bottom.
Is that an official update?
That's an official.
All right, I'm going to the tape.
I also have an official update. I watched the entire season of Too Hot to Handle, and I think it suffers from the same problem I have with all Netflix reality shows, which is like, it's fine.
I don't think it needs. They're not trying to get above fine.
I just gotta.
It's very nicely produced. Some great butt action in the show, but whatever I rated it last week, let's stick with that.
Noah?
Yeah, so remember a while back, beginning of season 3 of The Masked Singer, I went to the internet corner and I said,
no spoilers, Noah. No spoilers.
No, I'm not going to spoil. And I said, wow, they have the winner, and I got so confused. All I got to say is, the character they predicted is still in.
I remember you saying that. I'm excited once the winner's announced to go back to the internet corner and find out if it was actually accurate. But I appreciate your restraint of not spoiling, so thank you.
How's our Top Chef?
Oh, the Top Chef update. I got that. Let me pull it up. Let's see this week who got kicked off. So they did this weird thing where they kicked off 2 people, and then they had 3 people in Last Chance Kitchen, and the top person is immediately back on the show.
Oh.
So somebody got like lost half a point because they got kicked off the show, but then won Last Chance Kitchen, and is now back in the show, which is weird for the points thing. But we have Melissa King, Noah, as Melissa King won. So she got 4 points. And Kevin Gillespie, Brian won. He also got 4 points. But Nini, James's person, lost. She's out of the game. She's still in Last Chance Kitchen, but she's out. And then who else was out? Remember. Anyway, somebody else got kicked out. Let's see who's currently winning. Noah's currently winning with 21 points. Max has 19 points.
Oh no!
Brian has 16 points, and I have 13 points.
Any movement on my score there, Chris?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to move very soon. Yeah. All the players are out.
That's right. I'll ask you next week.
You gotta see if you can trade. Trades are allowed. I allow trades.
Does anyone want to trade with me?
Has anybody been watching the Midnight Gospel?
No.
What's that?
So, okay. It is a podcast that is then adapted to an animated show by the guy who did Adventure Time, who is this weird dude who does tons of shrooms. It's one of the wildest shows I've ever watched.
Right. Wild? Do you recommend? Is this a recommendation, or is it just wild?
I would say it's a recommendation, but it's absolutely not for everybody. Give it 10 minutes, and if you're not intrigued after 10 minutes, just turn it off. It's
like a Quibi.
Yeah, exactly. Except it's a 20-minute show.
One real quick plug over here. I'm watching a bunch of Below Deck Sailing Yacht. That show's just a real treat. A nice, escape from the pandemic. And yeah, definitely would recommend more of that Below Deck Sailing Yacht. James somehow convinced me to keep going with it, and he's definitely right.
Is that a top of the top? Is that going to show up in 2 weeks in our finale?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I put it top third to begin with, but it's definitely top third show.
Does James believe this is the best Below Deck?
I think he said that it might be the best, but it's either the best or the second best. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So, I was going to try to put it on the side at some point. But, I only have access to it with commercials, and, it's just, garbage. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, commercials are tough.
So I haven't started it. So, anyway, I think that's it for us this week. You can find us on Twitter @GoodSong. You can find us on Facebook.com/GoodSong. You can give us questions and suggestions at GoodSong@gmail.com. We'll see you guys next time.
Harrison, I just want to let you know that Chris does not know the song Lady Marmalade, and so was very confused by that episode.
Wow.
But it couldn't be marmalade? Marmalade.
No. Yeah, but that's not the song.